Did you know that during the cataclysm of World War I, a staggering 2 million soldiers fought not for their homelands, but for the nations that held dominion over them? These were men who traversed vast oceans, set foot on continents unknown, and vanished into the brutal machinery of a war they never chose, a conflict thrust upon them by the whims of empires. Today, we delve into their world, the world of the colonial soldiers whose bravery and sacrifice were instrumental in shaping the course of the conflict, yet whose names are so often absent from the pages of history. If you find yourself moved by the human stories woven into the tapestry of the past, stories of courage, loss, and resilience, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Your support helps us bring these forgotten voices to light, ensuring their stories are heard and remembered. In the fateful summer of 1914, as the first shots rang out across the European landscape, the flames of war spread with terrifying speed, engulfing nations and drawing empires from across the globe. The British, French, and German empires, eager to bolster their ranks, turned to their colonies, summoning men from the far reaches of India, the diverse landscapes of West and North Africa, the rice paddies of Indochina, and the sun-kissed islands of the Caribbean. Many of these men had never witnessed the serene beauty of snowfall, yet they were thrust into bone-chilling winters of the Western Front, where the cold seeped into their very souls. They were unfamiliar with the deafening roar of artillery, but within weeks, the thunderous barrage of shells became the haunting soundtrack of their new, terrifying reality. Picture a young man from the vibrant fields of Punjab, stepping onto the bustling port of Marseille in 1914. The air is thick with the acrid smell of coal smoke. The cries of seagulls echo in the distance, and before he can even comprehend the unfamiliar language swirling around him, he is swept into a marching column, heading towards an unknown destiny. Across the world, the tirailleurs Senegalese, the proud West African riflemen of France, embarked on weeks-long journeys across restless seas. Some would stand on the decks at night, gazing into the endless darkness of the waves, silently wondering if they would ever again see the faces of their loved ones, if they would ever return home. Upon their arrival at the trenches, a stark and brutal reality awaited them. A world of clinging mud, choking gas, razor-sharp barbed wire, and relentless bombardment. They were thrust into the deadliest battles of the war. The Somme, Verdun, Ypres, places where even seasoned European soldiers trembled in fear. Let us follow the story of Bakary, a 19-year-old West African soldier, a young man who came from a village where war was nothing more than tales told by traveling merchants, a distant concept far removed from the horrific nightmare that now consumed his horizon. During a harrowing attack near Verdun in 1916, Bakary and his unit charged across a desolate field, the wind carrying the stench of smoke and upturned earth. As the whistle blew, he surged forward, his boots sinking deep into the mire. A bullet grazed his helmet, a close brush with death, but he pressed on. Beside him ran Jean, a young French soldier the same age. They shared no common language. Their skin tones were different, yet the shared experience of months of brutal fighting had forged an unbreakable bond between them. They managed to capture the position, but in the process, Jean was struck by shrapnel. Without hesitation, Bakary dragged him back to the relative safety of the trench, his hands trembling from the cold and the sheer terror of the moment. That night, as he gazed up at the star-filled sky, he couldn't help but wonder if anyone in his distant homeland even knew the war he was fighting, and more importantly, why. When the guns finally fell silent and the war came to an end, thousands of colonial soldiers returned home, forever changed by their experiences. But the glory they deserved did not return with them. Many received no medals, were denied their full pay, or received no recognition whatsoever for their service and sacrifice. Photographs often depicted them relegated to the back rows, standing behind European troops, their contributions minimized or ignored. Letters written by their families, filled with love and concern, were often never delivered, leaving them in a state of agonizing uncertainty. Countless graves remained unmarked across the battlefields of France, Belgium, Gallipoli, and the Middle East, silent testaments to their forgotten sacrifice. But their courage did not simply vanish into the annals of history. Each of them left an indelible, though often silent, imprint on the survival of the armies they served, their bravery a vital component in the war effort. Today, as we revisit the history of World War I, one undeniable truth emerges. It was never just a European war. It belonged to those who crossed vast oceans, who endured the horrors of freezing trenches, who carried the weight of empires on their shoulders, and who fought valiantly for a cause that was often not their own. And we must ask ourselves, with a sense of profound responsibility, will the world ever fully acknowledge their sacrifice? But the story doesn't end here, because on this very front, many mysteries remain shrouded in the fog of war. What became of these colonial soldiers in the final years of the conflict? What challenges and injustices did they face upon their return home? These are questions that demand answers, stories that deserve to be told.